Hey guys, give me a second. Let me move this towel so it's not blowing in front of the camera. It's kind of windy out here this evening, so it's a good time of the day to do this. I've got the backlight back there. It's not shining right on me. I'm always nervous about this though because I don't know if it's in focus because I'm using the rear facing side. What we're going to talk about right now, because I have stones in the water soaking, and then I'm gonna do a couple straight razors, and then I have finished Matt's knife with the significant chip in it that I don't know how I did that. I'm gonna try and take out for him. I'm not gonna try, I'm gonna take it out for him. So we're gonna talk about a couple things, but mainly we're gonna talk about this. This is the RJ5 from a company called Ragingjap Knives. Now I have looked all over the internet and I haven't seen a single other video. So this is an exclusive. So this was sent to me by Ken over at Ragingjap Knives. It's a company in Japan. They're in Seki City. The knives are actually, this knife was actually made in Taiwan, Taichung, Taiwan. However, the blade is very well done. So what you've got is, green G10 scale on one side and a steel frame lock on the other. It's really smooth. It runs on bearings, or not on bearings, I'm sorry, on bushings as far as I can tell. It looks like, I haven't taken it apart, but I've been looking down in there, and it looks like a phosphor bronze washer. So, I think Dave, every time. Oh, wait, knocked something over, it's leaking, hang on. So, oh. There we go, that's better. Back to what I was saying. It is really smooth. It's got really good detent. You're not gonna, I'm snapping it pretty hard. You thumb flip it. It's got it's done on thumb stud. It is not a flipper, but you can thumb flip it. Really smooth. Haven't taken it apart to be certain, but from what I'm looking at, it is a ceramic detent ball. The G10 side does have a steel liner. With it being a steel frame lock, it is a little bit heavier, but it's not a real big knife, and one side being G10 kind of accounts for it. VG10 steel, one of my favorite steels. VG10 steel is the same steel that Spyderco has been using for years. It's a Japanese steel. It is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a really good steel no matter what other people say. You hear people complaining about N690. It's basically the same steel. You will get some patina. I used this the other day, so I was just looking at it. I used this the other day to cut something, and it now has a little bit of, just a little bit of patina on it, but that goes back to stainless steel being a relative term, because you can do stuff. I've seen stuff come into Elliot's coming back from grinding that was let stay a little bit wet, and it rusts, and that's 20 CV, and it's pretty rust resistant. All in all, VG10 is a good steel. It came very sharp. You guys know me. I am a jerk when it comes to screwed up grinds. It's ground very well. It came really sharp. As a matter of fact, this is one of those few knives that I did not immediately feel the urge to resharpen. It is fairly small. I suppose I could, since I'm doing an actual first person to ever do this. Let's get my ruler out here. You're looking at just about, pull it up here, just about 3 1/4 on blade length. 3 1/8 actually. 3 1/8 on blade length. It does have a sharpening choil. We'll get into that in a minute. Single-sided pivot construction. I haven't tried to take it apart to see if it's keyed or notched, to see how that's going to allow me to take it apart. Standoff construction, pillar construction, as opposed to backspacer. The steel liner is skeletonized on this, and I'm doing a pretty thorough review because Ken was kind enough to send this to me just because I asked. I'm gonna see, this might go to Mr. Shabazz or Birdshot. Jimping on the back, on the spine of the knife, is pretty aggressive. You're not gonna slip forward on that. It'll actually, I imagine it would take some skin off. The jimping here on the G10 side is a little less aggressive, but the steel side on this one is not as aggressive as the spine of the knife, but still aggressive enough to account for that. Some attractive milling done on the G10. And then there is, I don't like jimping on the lock bar, but it's not bad on this one. I usually don't like it on the interface there where you're gonna stick your thumb on a lock bar. So scale side is lower than the lock side to allow you access to that, so you're not having to stick your hand down there, because it is a pretty thin profiled knife. The lock bar cutout is, as I like to say, on the correct side. Nothing against Mr. Brian Nadeau or anybody else that puts it on the outside. I just personally prefer to have it on the inside because it's a lot easier on pocket material. I have been carrying this in slacks, so it does not tear up pockets too badly yet. So I am gonna have to say one thing. I'm not in love with the pocket clip. Oop, the pocket clip is titanium. It's a 3-screw pocket clip that you can reverse, tip up, tip down, but it is only right side carry. There's no spot to flip it on the left-hand side, but with it being a frame lock, it's a right-hand knife. It is titanium, and it has the Ragingjap company logo. It's marked as titanium. However, I'm going to probably wait till after I get it back, because I'm going to see if Nick Shabazz wants to take it and put it through his paces and see what he thinks about it. Pocket clip is a little bit sharp on the inside, and I was thinking that I would just take it and run it on a Scotch-Brite wheel. But with it being titanium, I can definitely take this and anodize it whatever color I want. I kind of like it the way it is, where you've got the raw titanium and then the bronze Ragingjap logo. It does have double screws on each side for all of the standoffs except for the pivot, and it is got an internal stop pin right there. So I am really not having any problems with it. There's no blade play. Lockup is awesome. It's right at about 50%. With it being a steel frame lock, no need for an insert. The detent ball is way up here on the lock bar, which lets you get some pretty good detent. The further up it is, the more that spring tension is going to be down in that hole. Locks up, like I said, really well, and then flips. The sharpening choil, I guess you would say, could have been brought out a little further because there is a high spot in the sharpening, but it looks like that could easily be correct. I could easily correct that on my own if I so chose. All in all, it's not a bad little knife. So when you look at their website, these knives are about... Sorry about that, guys. So I was gonna say, on their website, they are about 12,000 yen, which is right around $120. So they are trying to find some distribution stateside. I don't know how that's gonna work. But right now you can find them on their website, and they're 12,000 yen, which is right about 120 bucks. Not a bad price for a fairly decent knife. Something else that I noticed. Another just a little thing. I hang out with knife makers all the time. Just something that I noticed, that Elliot noticed, and you know, just one of those things that you notice. The G10 is chamfered here, but the steel is not. So you get a kind of an off-center look to it up here. But like I said, the knife is very well centered. It doesn't really favor, at first I thought it was favoring the lock scale side, but then I realized it's because the lock bar had dropped in, and it just makes it look a little off center. But at the tip, it looks to me like it's perfectly centered. There's no blade play when it's closed. No blade play that way, none that way. You might want to tighten the pivot down just a little bit. It feels like the pivot might be loosening. That can easily be taken care of with a little bit of Loctite. So that is the Ragingjap RJ5. Now I would like to ask them what the thought process is with the name, because, you know, here in the States, Jap is a derogatory term. So the logo, however, on the lock bar side of the blade is pretty cool. And I'll get a couple pictures of it. Like I said, I have been carrying this. I carried it today. It carries well in a pair of slacks. It's not too heavy. It's a nice small knife. I'd say it's about the same size. Maybe the blade's a little bit shorter than my NTAC. But you know, it's a different blade shape, different blade design. I really like it. I do like this knife. So that's the thing. I'm gonna see if Nick Shabazz wants me to send this off to him. Oh, the thumb studs. Thumb studs are a little bit sharp, but they also work very well to open the knife. You can open it slowly with the thumb studs, just past the detent, but the detent is strong enough, if I was to get my thumb on it, is strong enough to flip it. You can flip it just like that. Yeah, so Ragingjap RJ5, as far as I can tell, the first YouTube video of this knife, and I should not be gesticulating so closely to my face with a sharp knife, the first video of this knife on YouTube, period. I'm gonna check again. That's what I'm looking at, is that this is the only one so far. So even measured it with my titanium ruler. All right, guys, that is it for now. I have some stones that I just put in the water that I have got to flatten for some straight razors that came in from a guy up north. I really want to get them done for him. He has a total of 5. He only sent me 2. They are in need of some sharpening, some honing, technically. Other than that, I have another knife that we're going to talk about. This video is not over. Actually, you know what? I'll just do 2 videos while I'm waiting on everything to soak. It's going to take a little bit for these to soak. All right, guys, we'll just do 2 videos today. So that's it for right now. I will see you in the next video. Probably for you guys, momentarily. For me, a little bit from now. Or vice versa. All right, guys, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.